card at the Copper Box on Saturday, live on Sky Sports. And we're delighted to introduce our latest signing to the Matchroom boxing team. It's another stellar GB amateur standout in Dalton Smith, Sheffield's most successful ever amateur fighter. I'm completely surrounded by Smiths here on this table, with obviously Adam and Dalton and Grant, his father. I see Charlie Edwards there filming like a fan. Look, I mean, that's when you know you made it. You've got the WBC World Champion filming you here. Look, you know that one of our jobs, is that Dave Allen up the back there? Dave, happy birthday. Good to see you, good to see you. Our job over the last 7-8 years has been to try and invigorate British boxing. I think we've done a solid job of that. But one of the most pleasing things is to see the development of young fighters over that period. We've been blessed to really pick up the very best amateur talent that the country's produced consistently over that period. I remember a few years ago, people said, oh, you know, Matchroom, they don't develop young fighters to world championship status. And this is when we were just starting out. Now you look at the guys that have come through our system, if you like, Sky's system, and before that, the GB system. You know, guys like Anthony Joshua, Charlie Edwards, Cal Yafai, Callum Smith. These are all guys that we signed from the GB system that went on to win world titles, unify world titles, win Ring Magazine belts as well. And we think we've got that winning system. It's not rocket science. It's just about support, development, and consistency of a schedule. The guys that have come off this system are blessed in that they have the model and the mindset already complete. They just need the platform and the promises to be kept to keep going and produce a schedule for them to express their skills, to grow their profile, and to achieve. And I think we've done that really well. And obviously with the launch of Matchroom Boxing USA and Matchroom Boxing Italy and Germany, these guys now are going to get the chance to box worldwide in their development. Every young fighter coming through needs between 6 and 8 fights a year, in my opinion, to develop, to grow. And like I said, now with our international platforms, Dalton's going to get the opportunity to box in America, to box in Europe, to box in Asia, but most importantly, to develop as a UK fighter on Sky Sports, where he will become a big, big star. And I think particularly from the fighting city of Sheffield, that's no disrespect to the fighters coming through, got some good fighters. This young man has an opportunity to get a city behind him and really grow in the professional ranks with his dad, which is always, father-son relationships are always interested in boxing. I look forward to that, Grant. You've done an amazing job with Charlie, and I know you're going to do the same with Dalton. And before we hear from these two men, I'm going to pass over to head of boxing at Sky Sports, Adam Smith.
Yeah, it's very exciting for us. We love the youngsters turning over. Dalton is a terrific fighter. And as Eddie said, the system in Sheffield is brilliant. You know, when Anthony Joshua and Luke Campbell and the others came down before to Sky before the 2012 Olympics, and I saw what they were all about, not just terrific talents, but, you know, good talkers, well-conditioned. They were glowing, and look and see how they've all come through. The likes of Callum Smith, Luke, the other night, looking fantastic in Philly again. I think he'll be a world champion later this year. And it's really exciting for us. You know, we were there in the early days of the likes of Ricky Hatton. I remember Billy Graham saying to me when Ricky was 16, 17, this guy is the one that you've got to watch out for. And it's really exciting for us to be part of their journeys. We'll throw everything we can behind Dalton and the other youngsters coming through, because there's a massive opportunity. You know, Saturday night is a great one for us and for Charlie to lead it, and the likes of Joshua Buatsi and others to come through and try and get that sort of that star billing that we need going forwards. You know, you've seen the likes of James DeGale and George Groves and Tony Bellew and David Hale retire, Amir Khan and Kell Brook coming towards the end of their really successful careers. We need new blood. Sheffield's a great fight city. My great friend and colleague, obviously Johnny Nelson, is from there, and Prince Nassim Hamad, Ryan Rhodes, all those guys that came out. You know, Sheffield's a fight city through and through. So I'm really excited to be part of this. Grant's done a terrific job with Charlie, and you know, that moment at the end of last year was one that will live with me, and I hope we'll get to some great moments with Dalton in the future as well.
Thanks, Adam. I want to also say thank you to Sean O'Toole as well for his part in this deal. He's a tough lawyer. He's a miserable bastard. Drives a tough bargain, but always does a good job for his fighters and very, very honest. So we like working with him. And Grant, over to you, mate. Your boy going into the pro ranks. Obviously, people speak so highly of him, and your job to make sure that he delivers on his goals.
Yeah, I just want to thank Sean as well. I'm happy I've got him part of our team as well for the deal. So thank you, Sean, and everybody else behind the scenes. Dalton will take to the pro ranks, I think, very well. Very well. He's trained a lot of years with the pros, and he's been at the GB setup for many years. I think he was first Sheffield lad on GB, Team GB for boxing, and it served him well. He's travelled the world since he was 12-year-old. He hasn't boxed on an amateur club show since he was 12. All his other fights after that, internationals and ABAs. And he just lives it. He lives boxing. He's always in gym, always training, so dedicated.
What should we look for from Dalton Smith? What should the fans expect from Dalton Smith in terms of his style in the pro ranks?
He used to be a bit flash when he was little, but we've altered his style a little bit since that. He's a good box fighter. He can do everything. Southpaw, orthodox. He can fight. He can box. I just put him down as a very good box fighter, and he adapts so well to situations. After a round or so, and he'll start adapting, and the longer rounds will suit him better than the 3 rounds.
And finally, as a father and as someone who has a son, and obviously someone that's been involved with boxing for many, many years, must be an incredible feeling to start this journey with Dalton around the world and seeing if he can go on and become a world champion.
Very much so. This has been his dream, and he's dedicated his life to it. So for me, I'm so proud of him anyway. Before and now he's turned professional. Next part of his career, and obviously 10, 15 years, and he'll have done all business and earned his world title and completed everything.
Dalton, welcome. Your first press conference as a pro. You've done just about everything as an amateur, and now time to take to the professional ranks. You must be excited.
Yeah, very excited. You know, like I say, I want to thank my team first for getting me to this stage, and obviously I'm grateful to be part of the Matchroom stable now. I'm just looking forward to the next chapter in life.
British boxing and worldwide boxing, trust me when I say you could not come into this at a better time right now, into this game. And obviously, what was the decision that made you feel like you were ready for the professional ranks?
It was a couple of things really, but like you said, that British boxing at the minute's booming. It's at the highest it's been for I don't know how long. But with the turning over situation, it was Aiba taking 2 male weights out and putting the 2 female weights in for the Olympics, and just the situation I was put in, I wouldn't have been able to do it as an amateur. You have to make weight every single day you fight, so I might have to make 63 kilos 5 days a week, and it'd have been a bit of a struggle. So I had to sit down with my dad before Christmas, and we just had a good chat, and we thought, it's the right option and the right decision to look to turn over.
What are the aspirations as a pro? I know obviously, like I said, you won virtually everything as an amateur. Is it just that the only target is to become a world champion in this sport?
I think any fight at the highest level, you want to become a world champion, and that's what I eventually want to achieve in my career. But obviously I'm devastated I can't get to the Olympics now and represent my country, because it's been a goal I've wanted to achieve since a young age. But that's behind me now. I'm looking forward to the future, and I just want to. I'm not going to say I'm going to be a world champion in 2 years, because I know I'm not. I just want to take it slow, learn every single fight, make sure every fight's at the right time in my career, and eventually one day become a world champion.
Well, there was another fighter that, like you, didn't quite make the Olympic team for various reasons around weight as well. And funny enough, he's got the same lawyer as you as well, in Callum Smith. And trust me, after a couple of pro fights, you'll quickly forget about that. But just finally, same question to you that I asked you, Dad. What can the fans expect from you? We're going to be keeping you nice and busy. We're going to be boxing you all over the world. They're going to see a lot of excitement, and the time now for Sheffield to really get behind one of their young stars. That's
it. I want to make a name for myself, and obviously get Sheffield behind me, and become the next name in Sheffield. But I want to be exciting. I want to be in exciting fights, and as long as I stay active, I know I'm going to keep learning, keep progressing, and keep the fans happy. And I want to be in exciting fights in the future.
I promise you will be nice and active, and his pro debut will be announced early next week. It will be in May on one of our UK shows to be announced next week. And for now, before we start our main press conference, a welcome to the professional ranks, ladies and gentlemen, for Dalton Smith.
Thank you.
The final press conference for Saturday night's stacked card of boxing action taking place at Stratford City in East London at the Copper Box Arena. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. and sponsored by William Hill, StubHub, and JD Sports. It'll be broadcast live around the world, exclusively here in the UK on Sky Sports, and exclusively in America on DAZN. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are in the heart of London. And today we are surrounded by London heart. And I'm specifically talking about one man that's up here on the dais, a young man from Croydon, the WBC Flyweight Champion of the world, Charlie Edwards. His story is incredibly moving, and it seems like it belongs more in a Hollywood script than that of a young pugilist from Surrey. But it's real, and it now lives in the British boxing history. Anyone that's followed this young man's trajectory, his ups, his downs, his trials, his tribulations, to watching him become a world champion in front of a home crowd last December at the O2 Arena, becoming the best 8-stone fighter on the planet, and him fulfilling a dream, but more importantly, fulfilling a promise to his ailing mother. And then we watched as it came full circle, and he goes backstage, and he presents his mom with the championship green belt. Truly an amazing sporting moment. And if we can just for 1 second forget about boxing, forget about belts, purses, bright lights, to me, that's a true champion. And when I think of the heart of London, that's what I think of. So, ladies and gentlemen, Saturday night, great fight card. Charlie Edwards on the top, and here to introduce you to him and all the other fabulous fighters on the card, the president of Matchroom Boxing, Mr. Eddie Hearn.
Oh, don't worry about a round of applause for me. What about that? Yeah. What about that from David Diamante? That was another level. That was another level. I don't know how I follow that, and I don't often say that. Well done, excellent. Thanks for coming today. It's absolutely packed in here, and it's packed on the top table as well, because on Saturday night we are in the capital, as David said, at the Copper Box Arena for a night of World Championship boxing. This young man to my right, after just an incredible moment at the O2 Arena in December, gets a chance to defend his WBC title, the only WBC champion from the UK right now, in Charlie Edwards, defending against Spain's Angel Moreno. From Maravilla Box, from Sergio Martinez. They sent another fighter here in February called Sergio Garcia, who boxed Ted Cheeseman. We all know what happened there. And they feel very confident that they can go away as world champion on Saturday night. It is a stacked card, not just the fighters at the table here, but also on our table as well. Joshua Buatsi, who I see as one of the very, very top talents in world boxing right now, gets a chance to go for the British title against the mandatory Liam Conroy. A great grudge match, the British and Commonwealth Cruiserweight Championships between Wadi Camacho and Lawrence Okolie. One of the most exciting fighters who we all saw lose for the European title in Newcastle, Lewis Ritson, finally, I'm so glad I can say finally, moving up to 140 pounds to challenge for his first title against German Benitez. It's a delight to have Jay Quigley on the card as well in his first fight in the UK, Sean McGoldrick, and also the professional debut of Shannon Courtenay. I'm glad I said that right, Shannon, who is had a great story, so much traction, so much narrative, sold a huge amount of tickets for Saturday as well. And this is a really, really stacked card live on Sky Sports and DAZN on Saturday night. Before we hear from the fighters, I'm going to pass over to the head of boxing for Sky Sports, Adam Smith.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? And well done, David, for that phenomenal introduction. It is a great, great story with Charlie, the WBC title, the one that AJ wants, the one that so many want in boxing. Fantastic to see that gleaming on the top table here. What a night this is. We've just had a couple of really good shows from America. Dimitri Bivol and Turning Stone last week were in Philadelphia with Katie Taylor's wonderful performance to get the third belt on her aim to become undisputed champion. Terrific atmosphere in Philly. But you know what? I'm really glad to be home. In the heart of London, as David was saying, this is a phenomenal show. This is exactly the sort of show we want to bring you each and every time on Sky Sports. The top table is just packed. They're great fights. There's great belts on offer. There's just great moments that are going to happen on Saturday night. And for the leading lights of this show, you know, there's so much ahead of them. There's so many riches available. It's the next generation, as we've said before, Eddie and I, at the beginning of the year, you know, as the likes of David Hay and Tony Bellew and James DeGale and George Groves and, you know, at some point Kell Brook and Amir Khan will all follow into retirement. You know, this is the chance for these guys and girls terrific to see Shannon Courtenay. You know, she's been in at Sky, absolutely brilliant to get to know her story. Jason Quigley, I've got to say, it's fantastic to see you, my friend, former Sky Sports scholar. It's been brilliant working with you over the years. And everybody, you know, from Lewis to Joshua to Lawrence to Liam Conroy, I know has worked so hard for this. It's a really great night. So I say to everybody, tune in, enjoy it. I think it'll be action-packed. And I think there'll be, as I said, so much narrative to come from it. So, yeah, let's look forward to a good one.
Thanks, Adam. Start with Sean McGoldrick. Sean, welcome. New trainer in Jamie Moore. How have you found that, and how are you looking forward to being under him for the first time on Saturday?
Training's gone really well. I've been there for about 9 weeks now, 8-9 weeks. Everything's gone perfect, and I'm really looking forward to Saturday night.
Obviously a stellar amateur as well, Commonwealth Games gold medalist. You see all these guys around you that were on the GB team as well now going on. Many of them who you were teammates with have won world titles as well. Must give you big inspiration to go and try and do the same.
Yeah, definitely. You know, for all these boys, obviously, is you know, a dream to be where they are. Like, you know, so hopefully in the next couple of months, you know, a year, 2 years, I can start pushing on and get to where they are.
Jay, welcome. Your first fight in the UK. I didn't even know that until I read it earlier this week. I hope that's definitely true, that fact that I read. Couple of Donegal guys come to the workout yesterday to see you. I understand you're having your teeth done, which is a bit worrying, but you know, I understand it was necessary.
Not the Michael Conlon ones now.
Yeah, exactly. And thanks to Golden Boy as well, obviously working a lot with them at the moment. Excited to be on your first UK card with Sky Sports.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, coming over to London, I've 15 pro fights now. They've all been in the West Coast, East Coast of America, and I'm delighted that my management team, Sheer Sports and Golden Boy Promotions and Eddie are working together to get me on this card here in London. I remember one of the first times I spoke to Eddie was the Kell Brook fight when he boxed Spence over in Cairns in California. And Eddie came up to me and says, we're going to have to get you over in the UK sometime. So 4 years later, Eddie, we've done it. I'm here now. And no, I'm excited. This is great, obviously. The reason that I'm over this side of the pond now is because I'm training in Sheffield with the likes of Dominic Ingle, and training's been going great, camp's been great, feeling good, and looking to put on a show now on Saturday night.
It's unquestionable that for a middleweight, the only place to be is with Matchroom or with Golden Boy and on DAZN. You have so much in front of you if you can reach those levels. Obviously, we've got Canelo fighting Danny Jacobs on May the 4th. Golovkin will box in June. Demetrius Andrade with us as well will defend his title in June. How far do you feel that you are away from those levels? Is that something for the end of 2019 or 2020? And huge fights in front of you if you can keep moving through the gears.
Yeah, it's exactly as you said it, Eddie. You know, I'm absolutely delighted to be a middleweight in this prime with the likes of Golden Boy, DAZN and Matchroom working together now. All the big names, all the big fights are in the team that I just mentioned, and I'm ranked number 5 now in the WBC, that green belt that Charlie has up there. I'm looking at my eyes on that, not Charlie's, but the WBC middleweight one. So, you know, it's exciting times for me. And as Eddie says, all those lads are up there, they're looking at each other, but I'm on their heels and I'm looking at them right now and chasing them down.
Look forward to seeing you in action on Saturday night.
Thank you.
Shannon Courtenay. Shannon, I've followed you on social media for probably about 3 years, watching you go and bash up other girls in the amateur setup. I love the way you fight, so aggressive, and your stories really caught the attention of the British public as well. Looking forward to your debut on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think the British public's really got behind me, and the support has been crazy. Like, I can't even tell you how much it's been appreciated. So I feel like now I need to go there Saturday night and really do the business, just to back up what I've said, and then see what happens.
I just had coffee with Adam Booth a minute ago. He's very excited about your development as well. How important is it to stay calm on Saturday? We know how passionate you are about the sport. We know how many tickets you've sold for this event. You're going to be live on Sky Sports as well. How important is it just to stay calm, listen to Adam, and basically do as you're told?
Yeah, I think I've stayed quite calm throughout the whole process. Even now, I feel really calm. I'm not nervous at all. So I think going into the fight, because there's a lot of support and there's a bit of a hype about me now, that I've got to stay cool-headed and just take it all in my stride. The main thing is you only have your debut once, so I want to enjoy it and not try and spoil it by being too nervous or not staying calm.
I know this has been talked about a lot in the build-up to your debut. I think one of the great things about your story is we all know all fighters have great narratives, all fighters have great stories. And when you look at the men's game and you look at what boxing has delivered for the likes of Anthony Joshua, people up here, Lawrence Okolie, Charlie Edwards, Joshua Buatsi, how it can change their life in terms of instilling discipline and respect and structure and that regimental lifestyle that can keep them away from, you know, the dangers of another kind of life. Boxing's done that for you as well, hasn't it? Not in exactly the same way, but I think this is such a great situation where there is a young female boxer who can show how boxing's changed their life as well as all the other great role models out there.
Yes, it's definitely, it's not just changed my life, it's actually saved my life. If I'm honest, I dread to think where I'd be right now if it wasn't for boxing. So, yeah, I'm so glad that I found it. And, yeah, it's not often you hear a woman with a story like mine. And I haven't got a massive amateur background, so coming into this, I've kind of taken it upon myself to do the work. And, yeah, I think Saturday night I'm ready to steal the show.
I think there's probably not enough young girls, if you like, taking... not an interest, but involved in fighting and boxing, because I think sometimes in many schools and families it's almost frowned upon that a younger. I've got 2 daughters myself, and I don't think it's the done thing to be sending younger kids or younger girls to ABCs.
Yeah,
how do you encourage that? What have you got to say about that?
It's not obviously massive for women. I think it's definitely getting bigger, and you've got the likes of Katie Taylor, who's just won another world title on the weekend in Philadelphia. So I think women's boxing is definitely getting bigger and bigger. You know, I've got a little sister who's only 12, and the thought of her fighting is just absurd to me. But I think as a boxer, you've either got it in you or you don't. And yeah, I think the bigger women's boxing gets, the better. And obviously, I fight, if I'm honest, like a man. I don't mind standing there and trading and going to war, which some women don't seem to do. So I think it'd be interesting to see a woman who's willing to go there and trade and go toe-to-toe with another woman.
Fantastic, fascinating as well. Lewis, Sandman Ritson. Obviously, it was a crushing loss at the end of last year. We were jumping in Newcastle. We had 9,000 people in there. You were expected to go in and win the European title. We saw on the night, and after the fight, really a shell of Lewis Ritson, I feel, at 135 pounds, and a big blow. And now back to it at light welterweight. New opportunity, new challenge, new weight class, and a new title to be fought for on Saturday night in London.
Yeah, just can't wait to get back in there. 5-1 for go, massively disappointing. What can I say? We'll be back better, and can't wait to get in there Saturday.
What has that taught you about the game, particularly? I mean, you were flying, weren't you? You untouchable, breezed through everyone at the domestic division. Obviously, selling a huge amount of tickets, 9,000. Did you feel almost untouchable? And is that one of the reasons that you waited so long to move up to 140, because you just felt that you were unbeatable?
Yeah, we should have. You know, me and the team have sat down. We probably should have moved to 140 a good couple of fights ago. But when you're knocking everybody out and on the crest wave, and you know you don't want to, and we're doing stuff that we shouldn't have been doing to make 135, and you know we learned the hard way. But we'll be back at 140 and we'll be better. You will be. I look forward to you fighting for your first title at 140 and returning to Newcastle very, very soon. Absolutely fantastic nights up there. The British and Commonwealth Cruiserweight Championship. Plenty said in the build-up to these fights. Wadi Camacho, we've had on so many of our shows over the years, almost looked like his career may be over maybe 2 years ago, and has just been on the most incredible run with Steve Goodwin as well. I don't know if Steve's here. He's done a great job with Wadi, bringing him back, winning multiple titles, and of course winning the Commonwealth Cruiserweight Championship at the back end of last year. Now has a chance to win the Lonsdale belt against Lawrence Okolie. Wadi, welcome. Again, following you on social media, you've trained so hard for this fight. You look in tremendous shape and you're ready to go.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, training's gone fantastic, but the main thing is my mindset. You know, like I said, I've had various fights and I've had many mistakes, but you know, it's all about the mindset and the mind frame. The mindset is so clear, and with my lovely team that I have around me and the support, it's been amazing.
Obviously, Lawrence is far more inexperienced than you in the pro game, had a short but successful amateur career as well. What have you seen from him so far in the pro sport? It's been a mixture of performances, really, some very explosive ones and some other good wins, but haven't been as impressive to the fans. What do you see in him that makes you believe you can beat him on Saturday night?
Like I said, yeah, his performance been, you know, it's been okay. Like I said, anyone that he stepped in the ring, he's done what he had to do. If it's wrestling or winning by points or knockouts. But like I said, everyone all the time says, "Oh, I'm done." Guess what? I keep coming back, and once again, you know, it's time for me to rise up.
Lawrence, a big night for you as well. People talking about, you know, the potential of obviously being so high now with the WBA, maybe a Lebedev shot, but this is absolutely the focus now on Saturday night, British and Commonwealth Championships against Wadi Camacho.
Yeah, definitely. It's an amazing turnout, and I'm happy to be on the table with such amazing fighters. Yeah, definitely, I'm looking forward to Saturday. It's a big opportunity. I don't want to overlook Wadi, but you know, there's big opportunities as long as I can get rid of him in good fashion. And you know, it's just interesting because I see Wadi on social media, you know, calling me names, does an interview, so on and so forth. But then when he comes up here, he's very, you know, quiet and respectful. So hopefully he can bring that same energy on social media to the fight, and then we can have a good fight. And I hear him talking about, you know, a new team and so on and so forth. So it's good for him that he's, you know, mind's right and stuff. But I hope in the fight as well, when I start landing on him, because I've been working religiously on not holding on the inside, so we're going to go to work, that same mindset stays there and that same spirit stays there, and then we can have a great fight.
How are you finding that criticism, if you like? Obviously, you've had so few fights now, just 11 fights, won the WBA International, the Commonwealth Championship previously, the British Championship. You know, part of you has to say, that, you know, the public have to say this is incredible how quickly he's risen to the top, beating some very good fighters in like Mathias and people like that, but still a little bit of criticism about some of your performances. And I know sometimes you rise to that and you react to that, but does that frustrate you, or does it?
It doesn't frustrate me because I get to go home, look at myself in the mirror and just be realistic with myself with where I'm at, what I've done. When I stop and think, you know, I was working at McDonald's, yet somehow I become an Olympian, somehow I became European champion as an amateur, somehow I've won the British title, somehow I've won the Commonwealth title, somehow I'm going to knock out Wadi Camacho on Saturday. So for me, it's I look at reality as opposed to, you know, what other boxers say, what other fans say, like him talking about wrestling, so on and so forth. I just look at real life, and real life is I'm going to stop Wadi Camacho badly on the weekend.
You win this fight by stoppage?
Yeah, 100% I win this fight by stoppage. And also I'm going to make some more like prophecies if I'm allowed to do that now. I think I'm going to stop Wadi Camacho. God willing, if I'm able to do that, then as I said before I turned pro, before the end of 2020, even this year, I'm winning a world title. That's it. So let's make that happen.
We'll see Saturday night, British and Commonwealth Cruiserweight Championship, Wadi Camacho against Lawrence Okolie. The British Light Heavyweight Championship, and obviously the second British title fight on this card. I think this belt is such a beautiful belt, and I think every young fighter should aspire to win the British title, especially once. If you can win it outright, fantastic, and keep this belt on your mantelpiece for the rest of your life. I think it's a major, major statement for any young fighter coming through. One guy that has earned his shot at the British title and has been on an incredible run domestically in the light heavyweight division, Liam Conroy. Liam, saw you yesterday at the workout, looking great shape. Obviously the underdog for this fight, a lot of people talking about Joshua Buatsi, but you seem really, really up for this.
Yeah, I just want to thank MTK Global for building me to this point, as well as my trainer Johnny Roy. We've put in a great camp, and yeah, I've put in a camp for a lifetime, so I'm feeling brilliant, and I'm looking to put a performance for a lifetime in tomorrow as well, on Saturday, sorry. The
first fighter from Barrow and Furness, not just to challenge, or to win a British title, but to challenge for a British title. Obviously a lot of support coming down. We know it's a long way, but you've got good support up there. We'll go down in folklore from your town if you could pull this off on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's a big thing. I mean, to be putting Barrow on the map in that kind of way, I'm like dead proud. Everyone from Barrow is like dead proud to be from up there, and everyone's getting as excited as I am, so it'll be a good night.
We know that Buatsi is a very fast starter, a lot of first round stoppages in his recent fights as well. How important is it for you to start fast and sharp in this fight, because you know about his early spike?
Yeah, I'm going to have a fast start in order to be competitive and win the fight with Josh. I think that's my experience will show in them early rounds also. But yeah, it's a fast start and he gets people out there early, so it should be explosive to start with.
Josh, again, I believe any prospect coming through the ranks should try and win this belt. I know it's a belt that's very important to you as well. and a very important fight for you on Saturday night.
It is. Good afternoon, everyone. Just a quick one to congratulate Dalton Smith, turned professional. With the baby sky suit there, you look good, man. Again, to congratulate Charlie once again for what he's achieved. Sandman, we welcome you back to London. When I boxed in Newcastle, you welcomed me. I appreciate that. A lot more names that I've missed out, and I want to welcome you all to London. But the British title is important for me. I've said many times it's something that I feel I must win on this journey. Conroy has said this is his dream, so he's going to come. This is a man fighting for his dreams. But Saturday night, I'll be there, I'll be present.
Obviously, you've had so many successive first-round stoppages now. You really haven't done the championship rounds. I know no fighter wants to go those rounds, but do you think you'll get it on Saturday night, or do you see this fight ending in quick fashion as well?
As always, man, I'll say I think I'm going to get it. Like, all my last 3 fights that ended in the first round, I thought they were going to go the distance. I prepared for it, but you get in there and, again, it's easier to talk outside the ring. And like Tyson says, everyone has a plan until they get punched. So Conroy, he's going to come, he's going to try. I prepared for 12. If it goes 12, beautiful. If it doesn't, people will be entertained. So Saturday night.
I know you as an individual definitely not looking past Saturday night, but I have to say a word about the light heavyweight division right now. It's just a sensational division. Obviously, Dmitry Bivol signed with Matchroom Boxing as well, Artur Beterbiev, Grodzik as well. It's just a fantastic division and a very difficult one. Sergey Kovalev. Some huge fights out there for you if you can conquer domestic and European level.
Huge fights out there, like you said, but the goal right now is to conquer Britain. Saturday night, I'll deal with that, and maybe people will step up. We take the fights nationally, we make it happen. And again, we look forward to your guidance and my manager, my trainer's guidance to make the next move.
Look forward to that British Light Heavyweight Championship on the line, Copper Box on Saturday night. We move to the main event, like I said, the WBC Flyweight World Championship. Our only WBC World Champion in Charlie Edwards, and Maurizio Suleiman, the president, will be there flying in for the fight on Saturday night. We look forward to welcoming him. And we welcome Angel Moreno as well, and his translator as well. A big opportunity for you, and you must be excited for the challenge of the world title on Saturday night.
Sí, afronto este título con muchísima alegría, pero no sorprendido, porque bueno, venimos esperando esta oportunidad de hace tiempo. Lleva mucho tiempo en las primeras posiciones de las listas, y creo que es el día y la hora perfecta para hacernos campeones mundiales.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, I come to face all this with a big smile. I'm not surprised at all, because for a while now we've been waiting for this opportunity. We've been in the first rankings. So I think it's a perfect time, the perfect place to become a champion.
Obviously, you've sparred with Charlie Edwards, and you both have great work rate, great punch output. We should expect a very exciting fight on Saturday.
Sí, este sábado será un gran combate. Ya nos conocemos, y el que salga con ese cinturón sabe que va a conocer el infierno, porque esa pelea no es para menos. Es una pelea en la que no le quede a nadie ninguna duda de que hay dos boxeadores que se van a dejar el alma. Y quería apuntar otra cosa, que en la anterior rueda de prensa no se tradujo literal. Me gustaría que todos ustedes conociesen lo que quiero decir. Me gustaría que este sábado, cuando gane el campeonato del mundo, no se le deje a Charlie como un juguete roto, porque seguirá siendo un gran boxeador, y quiero y deseo que le sigan dando todas las oportunidades que se merece, aun cuando yo sea campeón del mundo este sábado.
Good luck with it.
Yes, and well, on Saturday we will have an amazing fight, and I know that the one that comes at the end of the fight with the belt will have gone through hell, because it's going to be the fight of a lifetime. And something else that I would like to mention about the last press conference that maybe wasn't understood as I meant it, is that on Saturday, when I win the world title, don't leave Charlie aside as a broken toy, because he has huge potential. He's a huge fighter. But so keep on supporting him even when I become the champion on Saturday night.
It's very kind of you, Angel. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so I like this now. Team Edwards, you're going to be a broken toy, he said. He said some other things as well. They were terrible. The lady didn't mention them, but I'll tell you about them later. Firstly, Grant, obviously we just had you up here. A extremely proud moment for you and the team in December, but that's kind of over now. You know, that it's now about defending this title. You are the champion. What have you seen from Charlie in this camp and in his mindset since he won that belt in December?
Like we've said now, we've moved on from that now. It's a new era for Charlie. In the gym, same old focus with Charlie, but he seems a little bit calmer in the gym. Now he's champion, his attitude's changed a little bit. He seems really content, but still driven. And his mind's, he can relax a little bit now. It's as if he's chasing a car and he couldn't get to it, and now he's sat in car driving it. And he's been a lot better in gym, yeah.
Obviously, some words from Angel Moreno. He's obviously extremely motivated for this opportunity, like any fighter would be. The style should gel into a great fight, and it should really be all action on Saturday night.
Angel, very good fighter, very good solid fight, as you've mentioned before. He could cause a lot of problems. He's got a tricky style, but we've studied it. We've come up with a couple of game plans, and he better get ready.
Charlie, I guess you'll never be bored of talking about that night, but we focus now on the future. You are world champion. You see the look in Moreno's eye. We remember the press conference in December. I remember the look in your eye when you were looking at that belt on your opponent's shoulder. With absolutely every desire in the world to win it, you now face the same desire from a challenger on Saturday night.
Yeah, 100%. First and foremost, I want to say a big thank you to David for that introduction. I really appreciate that. Also, I'm headlining my own card, and I feel so blessed and grateful for you, Eddie, for giving me the opportunity, for Sky, Adam Smith, and for all the fighters on the card. I've got some great talented fighters and friends on the card, so I just want to show appreciation to them. Yeah, regarding on me being a broken toy and stuff like that, talk's cheap, but I understand that he is very hungry, just like I was in my my last press conference before I could become champion. But me winning this world title, it hasn't made me relax anymore. It's made me more determined. I want to go down as a British great, and this is the first step on my journey. If anything, it's made me a better fighter. I'm more confident. I'm more adapting to situations that I never thought I'd be able to adapt to. Things are just clicking left, right, and centre, and it feels great. It feels great to be coming and headlining my show in London and coming out as world champion. These are dreams that I had from a little boy, laying in bed going to sleep at night, and the reality is it's all coming true, and that's from hard work, belief and faith. I'd just like to say thank you again, Eddie, for this opportunity and believing in me even when I was down at the bottom.
You are headlining on Saturday night in just a wonderful era for not just British boxing now, but worldwide boxing. Do you feel the pressure, obviously not just to win, but to look good and make this an exciting fight, or is it you just purely focused on coming out victorious and moving on and unifying the division?
No, I don't feel the pressure. I'm living in the now. I'm living in the present moment. And I'm enjoying what I'm doing, first and foremost. I'm in love with my lifestyle right now. I've wanted this for so long, to be a world champion and to be in the #1 spot. And all the years of hard work is paid off. Leaving anytime soon.
And finally, we see you repeatedly hurt Rosales in the last fight. I know it went the distance, but he's had a great chin as well. And see some stoppages from you recently on you definitely sitting down on your punches more, punching harder. Do you expect this fight to go the distance on Saturday night? We know that his only defeats have been a controversial loss for the European and also a defeat to Dalakian for the world title, the current world champion as well. Seems tough, seems durable. Do you think this is going to go the distance on Saturday night? Will you be looking to try and get him out of there?
Angel Moreno is a top-class, world-class fighter. I've shared many rounds with him in the gym, and he is very tough. I wouldn't be surprised if it went the distance, and I've fully prepared for the distance. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if we got him out of there. We're a completely different animal now, and what Grant has installed into me got me back to basics, got my footwork so much better. I'm planting when I'm hitting my punches, and my record doesn't say I'm a puncher, but in my last fight, you see that I kept Rosales off, and you can see what an animal he was. So I must have been gaining respect. So either way, I wouldn't be surprised, but I will say it's going to be a Charlie Edwards win in style, a punch-perfect performance.
And finally, when you go to that Bible of boxing, Box Rec, and you look at these divisions, seeing you as 1/1, the number one in your division right now, how does that make you feel, and what confidence does that give you to go forward and like I said, try and win on Saturday and unify in 2019?
Yeah, it feels great to see that, but I've always believed I was number one. Even when I jumped in with Casemiro and it was too early for me, I still believed I was number one. It wasn't my time then, and I've always had this self-belief, and it is nice to see it on paper. It is a real buzz, but yeah, so it's a great achievement for me, but it's not about being number one, it's about bettering myself day in, day out. I'm obsessed with getting better. I want to push my boundaries. It don't matter about no one else, just me. Thank
you, Charlie. Great words from the WBC Flyweight World Champion, and a huge card on Saturday night. We'll see you for the weigh-in tomorrow, back at East Winter Garden, and we look forward to a great night at the Copper Box on Saturday. Thank you. We're going to have head-to-head shots up here, and then fighters available for the media. Thank you.
I'm doing great, thanks, Ben. I'm lapping it up, loving it. Every second of every minute of this week. And to be fair, I've loved that every second of every minute of life since I've become a world champion. It's made me more hungrier, more determined. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the process. And it's, for me, it's all about living in the now, living in the present moment. And it's making me a lot happier within myself.
That was a rather special introduction you got from the MC with the dreadlocks, whose name escapes me. That seems to be on schedule.
Diamante.
David Diamante. Do you think that's his real name?
Yeah. He's a really nice guy, and I got to thank him for giving me that introduction. It really touched. I felt goosebumps go all the way up my back and up to my neck. And to be fair, I had to hold back the tears again because it's like it was an emotional thing. All these moments are the moments that I've dreamed of and visualised since I was a little kid, and they're all coming into reality. And that's why I'm so happy, so excited. I'm doing it with ease. I'm full of energy. I'm making weight easier. I've got nothing in the back of my mind that is playing a part. So I'm just loving and enjoying every minute.
Waiting for you to make the first defence of your world title on Saturday night, I have to remind myself that you've only had 15 fights.
Yeah. I know, 15 fight novice still. But listen, I still I train like that. I train like I am. I don't think I'm a finished article. No way, no how. I will never be a finished article. Every day for me is going in the gym, listening, learning, developing, bettering myself, and living a great lifestyle. But it's easy because I love the life I live. So I'm passionate about it, and it makes my job so much easier.
I remember reading about Baron McGuigan once when he was getting ready for his WBA World Title Challenge to Eusebio Pedrosa, and they said that there was a sparring partner from Panama that kept nailing him with this uppercut, the right uppercut, a bit like Pedrosa would throw it. Yeah. And he said that one day at breakfast McGuigan showed him the bruise under his chin, the wheal, but he only showed him the day that he'd learned how to block it. But he'd been stewing over it for the week or so until he could figure out. Are you like that with what happens in the gym as well?
Yeah, 100%. I'm a perfectionist, but most of all, my coach is a major perfectionist, and he does not let anything slip. Like, he will not just let me hit pads and just let me think I'm the best and feel good. He pulled me up on every little last thing, and like you could see in the Rosales fight, how accurate, how I was doing things was so technically sound. And my footwork was there. I was taking distance away when I needed to. I was spoiling it when I needed to, holding when I needed to. He's really made me more of an all-rounded, complete fighter.
What about the challenge on Saturday night, Angel Moreno? I know that he has lost a few years back to the existing WBA Flyweight Champion, Artem Dalakian, and I know that he lost to Thomas Masson for the European title, I believe it was 2016. Have you watched a great deal of him?
I've actually sparred him.
Okay, let's hear about that.
Yeah, I sparred him in before my Casemiro fight.
Okay.
2 years, 3 months
ago.
ago.
Him for that reason?
Yeah, I hired him for the Casemiro fight, and we've shared like 28 rounds, I think, together. And
okay, so
we've shared the ring together, and that's what I mean. Saturday night's going to heat up very nicely. It's not like we're getting in there, got to feel each other out. It's going to be, we're going to be going from the first bell, and. Yeah, he's a great fighter, a world-class fighter, very tough, very game, very awkward at times. But it's a fight I'm really confident in. I'm really looking forward to expressing myself.
Did you guys get along in camp?
Oh yeah, like now, even before the press conference, shake his hand. Every time I see him, I say hello to him, shake his hand, and there's no remorse towards him. It's just business.
Yeah.
I'm in this game. It's not a brutal sport for me. It's a game of chess. It's something I enjoy doing, and that's why I said in the press conference, I'm looking forward to having a punch-perfect performance. And I like to dissect people. I like to give someone a boxing lesson. And the way he talked about me in the press conference, all that showed me was he was uncomfortable. He was nervous, and it's all right being confident in yourself and saying things how you believe it's going to go, but when you start to be trying to nasty about it, that shows me that there's a little bit in the back of your mind where you're not that confident.
For the enlightenment of the ladies and gentlemen watching this video, let's explain that. He said, we were told, he said, we're at the mercy of the interpreter because I don't speak Spanish, I don't know about you. Yeah. And supposedly he said, Charlie is a good fighter, so please don't stop supporting him or discard him like a broken toy after I beat him.
Yeah, but listen, in his mind, he really don't believe that. He knows what happened in the spars, and he's got to say that. Boxing's a mental game as well, don't forget, and he's going to try to say something nasty to get a reaction out of me and get me emotionally attached. And to be honest, all that is irrelevant to me. I've noticed that, well, my brother's noticed anyway, because you know what he's like on social media. Yeah. Everything I'm doing on social media, he's trying to mirror me, like writing the same things. So I'm already in his subconscious mind. And I know he ain't confident. I can tell, I can read a fighter. I've been around this game for a long time. He isn't confident, but he's still going to come and he's still going to be fighting for his life, because at the end of the day, this is his World Cup final, and he's going to be hungry on the night. But he's going to fall into forcing things. I believe he's going to be very stiff and try and load up behind punches. And when you do that and don't let things flow, you're in a bad place.
And I know once you've taken care of business on Saturday night, your agenda, your desire is to be an all-time great, a British all-time great, or even an all-time great in any language, which that's what keeps you hungry, and that's what makes you. It's not because I feel like certain people, even like Olympians like Tony Jeffries, they seem to hit their pinnacle in their own mind at a certain point, rest on the laurels a little bit, and their hunger wasn't there. Yeah. Your success, your hunger for success is absolutely ultimate.
Well, there you go. You said it for yourself. They hit their own limit in their mind. The mind's a very powerful thing. You're your only limitation in life. If you want something, you can get anything. With hard work, sacrifice, determination, belief, faith, you can go all the way. And I got in this sport from a young age, looking at Manny Pacquiao, looking at all-time greats. And it's not even about becoming a multi-weight world champion. It's about becoming a multi-weight world champion and inspire a younger generation of fighters coming through. Like, if you can do something to help humanity, like me, I'm tiny, I'm 8 stone. Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to get laughed at in school when I told everyone I wanted to be a professional boxer. Yeah. It was like, you're never going to make it, you're too small, you're this, that and the other. Reality is, I'm here standing proof that a small, young kid can come with people looking around him saying you're not going to do nothing to be where I am today. And if I can help anyone in life and in humanity and show them and inspire people, inspire the younger generation coming through, that's what it's about. It's about giving back to humanity, not just taking away and becoming egotistic, chasing the money. I'm a big believer in passion and drive. If I'm passionate about something, I will go all the way.
You know, and there is a sense of the people's champion about you, and the idea that you're actually carrying some people's hopes with you into the ring. Everybody seems to like Charlie Edwards. What is the most negative or worst thing you've ever read or heard about yourself?
To be honest, I don't really look into stuff. If I see something negative, I just click off. It doesn't affect me, it doesn't faze me. I won't give it my time or energy. I think a lot of haters were saying I was never going to make it, but that's a part of the parcel. On the way up, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. So you just got to take it with a pinch of salt and really keep your circle close, keep good people around you, and just focus on bettering yourself day in, day out. Because really, at the end of the day, everyone else's opinion, it doesn't affect or define you. So if you're happy within yourself, within your soul, within your mind, and your well-being's good, someone can say something about me, but it doesn't affect me.
Lawrence, the most interesting aspect of today's brief address at the press conference was that you said that you'd noticed Wadi Camacho somewhat giving it the big one online, but couldn't have been more placid and nicer today. That was a point you wanted to make.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a replica probably of what the fight's going to end up being like, which is I'm going to come out, I'm going to do what I need to do to establish control, and then I'm going to land big shots, and then we'll see what his energy is like. Because he's, you know, I've been seeing he's been listening to a lot of motivational speakers and motivational songs, and I want to see if that helps him get through the fight.
What did you two say to each other? Kind of things did you say to each other when you're in that little face-off up on this very place now?
Oh yeah, nothing much. Just, you know, it's trouble on Saturday, blah blah blah. Then he, you know, said that he's not Isaac Chamberlain or Wadi, or Luke Watkins. Then I just told him that they're both better than him. That Isaac's already beaten him, and then he suddenly wanted to turn away. But for me, all of that stuff don't mean nothing. I don't usually even engage, but like I said, the whole stuff that he's posted really hurt my feelings. So I just wanted to say something.
Is that for real? You said it actually did really bother you.
Yeah, I was really upset.
I'm going to say something now, right? I haven't seen what he's posted on social media. I've never mentioned this to anybody because it ain't a big deal, but I think Wadi blocked me on Facebook a few years ago. Don't ask me why. Yeah, thanks. Don't ask me why. And this isn't a dig out to Wadi. We get on fine. I see him and we say hello. Yeah. I've never asked him why he blocked me, but so because I can't read it, what's he been saying?
I just calling me various animal names, putting animals' faces on my face. Oh, just stuff like that. You know, it's not nice. I've had to go home. My mum patted me in the back. You know, she told me, "Listen, he's just jealous of you, and I should knock him out on the weekends." That's what they do.
Presumably, his desire, rather than being any personal animosity, is to get you to fight him hard. He must want you to fight him in the trenches or something like that. It's usually the reason.
I guess so. That's a big mistake, though. But maybe he knows something I don't know, which is, you know, he's a warrior and he's ready to rally and take me deep. But I've been 12 rounds. I've been 10 rounds. I'm in great shape, so I can do the rounds just off of being physical, but I'm just gonna, like I said, he's shown in his fights, when you get past 4 rounds, he starts to break down mentally. But I don't really want to see round 4. It's quite like, so we'll see what happens.
You don't want to see round 4. That's something of not necessarily an exclusive, but it's a prediction. Darren Barker was talking earlier today to somebody. I heard the back of my head, I could hear him talking, and he was saying that a lot of ordinary guys could get fit enough to do 12 rounds, but very few people can actually capable of doing it mentally up here.
Exactly.
Do you relate to that?
I do relate to that, and also I think that even me in some of my fights, that you drift without realising you're drifting, so you just get into autopilot. So that's one thing that my coach has been drilling in, which is intent. So everything you're doing, it has to be with intent. So in around 10, don't just throw in a jab. You have intent with what you're doing. So
is it possible to almost switch off and get bored, almost, as silly as that sounds?
Not even just bored, but you just get comfortable, so you know what punches. Like, say you can't knock your guy out, you know.
Settle down a bit.
You settle, both of you. Like, if you look at me versus Mathias, I think he established that he was going to lose the fight. I established I was going to win. I couldn't stop him, and I also established that it's a ugly fight. But I didn't care, so I was just like, okay, yeah, it's going to be ugly. So you just get into a rhythm.
Accepted it.
Yeah, you just kind of say, this is what this fight's going to be like. But that's when you have intent, it's round 9, it's going your way, but you want something to change it. But that comes from training and the mindset you have outside.
What you said about half an hour ago, you've worked very hard on not getting tied up inside and not allowing it to be an ugly fight. You know, you've worked very hard on being able to work inside or else get the distance back.
Yeah, exactly. So that's more, not even working on the side. I'm 6'5", I've got really long arms. I'm never going to uppercut, hook, lead, uppercut.
Riddick Bowe used to be a good inside man for a tall guy, but you...
I haven't got there yet. So if I'm going to be honest, I'm going to make it extremely uncomfortable to be on the inside with me because I'm physically strong. So you're going to see less and less people wanting to be on the inside. I think the new thing will be being right on the edge of my range as opposed to being up close, because I'll be finding the angles to land big shots.
Okay, the last thing I want to talk about before I let you go is there was an interesting situation with a gentleman over there whose name I'm not actually aware of, but I know he's part of Dylan White's team, and he wanted a little conference with you to say, let's not escalate this thing and make it any silliness outside of the jurisdiction where you get paid. Yeah. He said, let's squash this thing and be respectful. Was that a good conversation?
I think it was world class from him. You know, yeah, that's it really. I just think, because like I said, I was surprised when he first came in. I thought, okay,
it's off.
Yeah, but then
Barry said it yesterday. He said, "Can I miss the press conference?" And he said, "Well, actually, if there's going to be a situation where I need to support you, I'll come."
Yeah, I told him not to come because, to be fair, as much as you know, a man, I got pride in from where I'm from.
You don't need no chaperone.
Yeah, but more so it's a thing of like, I know getting into proper like beef in your job doesn't make sense because you lose out on money, and also this
With
is
the
boxing.
boxing,
Yeah, but this is boxing. So, for example, you know that I'm going to be at a public workout, a press conference, and a fight 3 days, 4 times a year. You know where to find me, and I know where to find someone in boxing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense logistically either. So, you know, just leave it alone.
You've met your opponent, so how long have you had that opponent confirmed? It was TBA for quite a long time, which is ordinary for debutant situation.
So I think I found out I knew the opponent was confirmed last week.
Yeah.
I haven't once asked Adam about an opponent because, if I'm honest, I don't care. She's got 2 arms, 2 legs, and that's what matters to me. It's my debut. I'm not going to read into it too much. And then I found out that she was from, I think it's Romania, earlier in the week. Don't know her name. Don't know anything about her. I know she's got good amateur backgrounds.
Yeah.
Obviously met her for the head-to-head stage. She's smaller than me.
Yeah, she's a fair bit shorter.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of a hill in my trainers, don't get me wrong, but it's the first time I come out against someone shorter than me because obviously I've gone down 2 weights since I was an amateur.
Yeah.
So, no, it'd be interesting.
For the benefit of the ladies and gentlemen watching the video, what weight are you making your debut at?
Bantamweight.
Bantamweight, and you were a featherweight.
I was a featherweight as an amateur, yeah.
You were talking. I heard you talking with some friends about making weight and where you were at yesterday at the public workout, and they said how much you got to do, and you said, "Well, I better be careful because I got a reporter standing right next to me," as in yours truly. But have you had to be more rigorous about the whole practice?
Truth have it, I actually eat more now than I ever have done since starting boxing.
Yeah.
I wasn't as an amateur. I was starving myself. I had really bad nutrition. Bad eating disorder, if I'm honest. I was terrified of eating.
You were a girl who had a lot of weight on back in,
Yeah,
in
so
the
I
day,
was-
and boxing was part of your renaissance
Yeah,
and
so I
saviour.
was 82 kilos at one before I started boxing. So then I lost all the weight, and then when I lost the weight, I was so scared to eat again. So I was making weight by starving myself, by going dry. And the minute I did eat food, it was just coming on, and I was just gaining weight straight away. So now I've got the right nutrition in place. I'm eating more than ever, and I've managed to go down 2 weights. And I'm walking around. Even like today, I've had a massive breakfast. I'm drinking what I want, eating what I want.
It's easy if you do it right, isn't it? When you
If
know
you,
what
if you
to
don't do it, if you do it right and you don't cheat, it's easy.
And you must be an inspirational figure to some young ladies who, everybody's quite body conscious these days.
Yeah.
We see it in the media, we get these templates handed down. You said you used to be what you consider to be over your ideal weight, and you weren't happy with your self-esteem issues when you were younger, and boxing's made a big difference to that, and now you're the new blonde bombshell turning professional, getting the double page spread in the sun.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I don't think it's about lose as much weight as you can. I think if you can lose weight, or doesn't even need to lose weight, if you can do something that's going to make you happy in your own body, and if you can look in the mirror and say, "Do you know what, I'm happy with who I am," that means more than anything. There's so much pressure on young girls nowadays in the media and everything. I've got a 12-year-old sister.
Yeah.
And last year when she was 11, I kept catching her weighing herself at 11 years old.
Yeah.
And I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Don't use my scales again." That's when I was living at home still. And she said, "But you weigh yourself." I said, "But I'm a fighter, I have to."
Yeah, it's different.
And I say, eat what you want, dress how you want, do what you want. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. I was so unhappy in life years ago, and now I'm in a good place, and it speaks volumes in the way that I carry myself nowadays.
Okay, Shannon, we didn't come here just to discuss weights and exchange hair tips, so let's talk boxing.
Go on.
From an experience point of view, it's good to go to rounds on your professional debut, but from a statement point of view and from a kind of iconic point of view, it's nice to get an emphatic stoppage. Is that on your mind?
So I've literally just done an interview with Eddie, and he's put it out there. He thinks I'm going to win by stoppage, but it's your debut. You've got to enjoy it. I'm not looking for the stoppage because if it comes, it comes. You know, I think when you go looking for a knockout, you load up, your shots are seen, and you kind of spoil your performance. I want to get the stoppage, but I'm not going to look for it. Obviously, it's going to be a big statement to make, and I'm looking, whether it's with stoppage or points, I'm looking to make a big statement. I think I'm going to make a big statement because of the way I fight. So whatever happens Saturday night happens.
Do you think women should do 2-minute rounds, or would you be happier doing 3-minute rounds like the lads do?
Me personally, I'd be happy doing 3-minute rounds. I get stronger as I go on.
And you've done those in the amateurs, I imagine,
Yeah,
3-minute rounds?
I was doing 3-minute rounds for every international tournament, ABA, everything I've done was 3-minute rounds. The first actual international tournament done was 2 minutes, I think. But yeah, I've always, since then I've done 3-minute rounds, and I do prefer it. I much prefer it. So even now, Adam's telling me you can't start slow because it's 2-minute rounds.
Yeah.
I used to like to work my opponent out in the first round, and he's like, "Nah, you get straight to business now because you've only got 2 minutes to get her out of there." So.
Eddie says that he loves your aggressive style. We've had conversations over the years on social media and whatnot. I know your idol was Roberto Duran. I do know that my man Sugar Ray Leonard has made a lot of ground in the ensuing years. Where are we at with that right now?
Roberto Duran will always be my favourite. Obviously, since I started with Adam and Charlie, Well, first time I met Adam, he was intrigued that a young woman like myself was in love with Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard and like the Hagler Hearns. Yeah, Duran's still favourite, but I've read Sugar Ray's book and as a person I've fallen in love with him as a person as well, so he's very, very close second. But no, yeah, them two are the people that I study the most. I watch them non-stop. I think their fight itself, the first one, I've probably watched that over 100 times, and I'll probably watch it again in the hotel tonight.
First fight's a fantastic fight, isn't it?
Fantastic fight.
Even though my man lost. But I'm going to ask this, not out of any clickbait type desires, but because it is interesting to get a female perspective on this culture that used to be the Spartan remit of masculinity. A lot of guys, certainly in the old days, they religiously believed it. They still believe it, a lot of fighters today, despite scientific evidence to the contrary. I think you can see what's coming. But they tend to abstain from sexual activity in the run-up to a fight. That's even if some physiologists say that it doesn't do you any harm at all to have an ordinary, healthy sex life for an athlete. I've always been intrigued what a female fighter's perspective and practice is. Is that something you would...
It's not something I've really looked into, if I'm honest.
You just do what you normally do. You don't. Is there a desire to get a bit meaner? I know your fella Danny.
Yeah. So I've not looked into it. I watched an interview years ago. I think it's Ronda Rousey, and apparently she was saying how a doctor told her for a woman it was beneficial to actually have more sex. Yeah.
So you wouldn't go away from your partner and lock yourself in camp necessarily, or you might do. In the future.
I haven't changed anything.
Okay. Last question.
Not that I really want to go into that, to be honest.
Well, I wasn't trying to put you on the spot or look funny. It was genuine, journalistic integrity that I thought would be interesting to get a perspective on that.
Okay.
Because it might become more relevant as you move towards championship level.
Yeah.
And people might say, well, you need to get away from home and distractions, what people might call it.
Yeah. So I haven't changed anything.
Female boxing is getting a lot bigger, a lot more credible. I think all the insiders that I know in the industry are very afraid with it now. But do you still feel there's prejudice that you experience, or
yeah, of course.
a kind of sense that you're not really taken seriously, but people like you because you're a pretty blonde girl and a nice personality? Do you feel that it's harder to get taken seriously for what you do with these?
Yeah, people obviously see that I don't look like a typical boxer. I'm very girly. I get my nails done, my hair done, my makeup's always done. When I'm out and about, I'm always in dresses and skirts. So yeah, I'm not your typical female, but I think, do you know what? Everyone's got an opinion. Tune in Saturday night, see how I fight, and it will soon change your opinion.
I'll be watching with an avid eye myself. The last question is, I'm very curious about this. Where did you get your nickname from, Shannon?
Some fella give me it, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what? You said it
Yeah.
Years ago on Facebook, I think it was. And then, I think it was 2-3 months later, Boxing News actually named me it. And then when Boxing News said, I thought, well, it's got to stick now, isn't it? Because I didn't like the Shannon the Cannon that people used to call me. I didn't like that at all.
Bit too lazy.
Shannon Briggs has got it, isn't he?
Sure.
So, but no, when Boxing News named me it, and I just thought, you know what, I'll have that.
Well, when you're rich and famous, you're going to give me the credit instead of Boxing News.
I'll give myself the credit.
That's a deal. Thanks very much.
Thank you
Shannon,
very
Courtenay,
much.
good luck.
Thank you.
Cheers. Lewis, you were saying up there on the dais that you possibly, with hindsight, should have moved up to light welterweight before now, maybe before the last couple of fights. But things were going well. You were blowing people away, so you ran with it for maybe a little. One fight too many?
Yeah, one fight too many. I mean, the last few weigh-ins that we had, fully naked, the towel in front of us. I think that's a bit of an obvious sign that we're struggling to make it. But when you're knocking everybody out and you're getting opportunities to sell your home arena, 9,000 in there, it was too good to offer, and we chose to take the fight. And in hindsight, we should have moved up, and we've got a loss because of that now. But we're going to come back big and strong at 140.
I believe you were a welterweight in the amateurs, from what my sources tell me.
Yeah, I was a welterweight and even sometimes light middle. So, I was carrying a bit in the amateurs. And when I started turning pro and started training full time, the weight just seemed to come off. And being a pro about 3.5 years now, and we've been at lightweight for that 3.5 years. And I think it was just too much now to make it.
You did say you were doing things you shouldn't have done to make 135. I'm aware of some of the things fighters do to dry themselves out. Would you care to elaborate for the benefit of viewers?
Well, I don't want to start making excuses because I've been beat, but drying out, making myself be sick, not drinking, not eating, starving myself, things like that. So we've done that there. We've done it now. Now we're at 140, and I've trained with Neil Fano full time now. He's shown us how to do it properly, and I believe that you'll see 100 times better Lewis Ritson on Saturday night.
you don't want to make excuses. I'll take that on board. But did Patera surprise you at all? I know I don't want to dwell on this. We will talk about the future. But did he surprise you at all with the level of quality, or do you honestly feel that a healthy Lewis Ritson would not have struggled unduly with him?
I said it before the fight, and I'll say it now. I believe a fit and healthy Lewis would have been the first person to stop Patera. I do. Didn't underestimate him at all. We knew that he was going to come. He was fit as anything, throws punches and bunches, and he's got a bit of boxing skill to him, but it just wasn't a fit and healthy Lewis Ritson, and that was all I can say about it, really.
In the gym, do you feel strong? Because obviously you're a massively strong lightweight because of your size and natural strength. But do you feel even stronger in the gym at 140 pounds, not having to do those things?
Yeah, I feel massively stronger. We were losing my power, really going to lightweight, doing what I had to do to go to lightweight, and we've seen the sparring sessions in the train that I'm 100% strong at 140.
How much do you know about the opponent Benitez on Saturday night? Have you studied him at all?
No, I just leave that to the coaches in the team and see what they think of the night. And like Neil says, if you bring your A game, then that's what we'll take it off, and we'll have the first couple of rounds to watch him and see what he brings, and we'll take it from there.
I almost always ask fighters this, but are you one of those guys who doesn't like to watch your opponents too much? You like your trainer to watch him, and you'll make the adjustments when he comes at you in the ring, see what he does?
Yeah, like I say, I don't look at box rec, I don't look at any footage or nothing. I just go in there and I just take it in my stride, and like you say, work out the first couple of rounds, and then we'll take it from there.
I know you won't be looking ahead. Saturday night fighters never do if they've got the right mindset, but looking at the light welterweight picture domestically and on a world scene, what sort of opportunities are you looking forward to or contemplating there?
Well, we'll be keeping an eye on the Joe Hughes and Robbie Davis fight next week. We've won the British at lightweight and kept it outright, and we don't want to go over old ground really. We're going to move to lightweight and we want to win out that fight.
Sure. I mean, it's funny. Joe Hughes, it seemed to sneak up on people, didn't he, with that European title win? There are so many, dare I say, more spurious belts in boxing these days. The European title proper seems to have gone slightly out of fashion. But it's hard for you got beat for it under whatever circumstances. Ted Cheeseman got soundly beaten for it. It seems to mean less, but it's never an easy fight, is it, for the European?
No, well, it's the proper European. If that's opinions, then most fighters would probably rather go for that. Like WBO European, IBF European. It's not the EBU European. It's not the real one, is it? And that's, as a fighter, that's the one that real fighters want to go for, and you'll fight the harder opponents for them, but you'll get less recognition for it. But Robbie Davis and Joe Hughes is going to be a great fight next week, and we'll be keeping a close eye on it.
Still got O'Hara Davies. I think he's still a light welterweight if he's decided not to retire again. Do you ever watch O'Hara or wonder about yourself and him in a mix at some point?
Well, we're going to fight each other lightweight for the English title, but he ended up pulling out with a purse bids, and then we did, and we both went down different routes. So, if it's a fight that's offered, we're not avoiding anyone. If the money's right, we'll fight anyone.
What it comes down to at the end of the day. There was an interesting situation here today because there's been a well-known online beef between Dylan and Lawrence Okolie, emanating from sparring videos and claims and such. And I only caught the end of it, but you appear to have come today, amongst other things, to say, listen, we shouldn't let this thing escalate into any kind of silliness, and we should all be professional and handle things the way they should be handled.
Exactly.
Would you explain?
Exactly, that's all it was really. I just thought I'd have a word, calm the storm before it gets out of control. Dillian will be in attendance come Saturday night.
Yes.
Lawrence will be fighting. When the fight is over, I'm sure Dillian is a man that wears his heart on his sleeve, and he will confront Lawrence.
He said he was going to.
Yep. So what I'm saying is I want the best of my bro. So, I'm going to come and try and calm it down a bit, have a word with him, and hopefully he doesn't talk out of turn. You're a man, talk as you feel, but just a little bit of advice. You don't have to take it, but just have a little bit of advice, when you're confronted with him. You don't need to back down from your stance. All you need to say is, I'm a man, I'm confident, I'm a fighter, and you're a fighter. I believe I could beat you if you fought. Fair enough. But it's you leading on and letting out the tapes that was an annoyance and continuing. So when you're confronted, I'm hoping you can just speak in a certain fashion that doesn't light the flame.
It's not incendiary.
Yeah, it doesn't light the flame. And hopefully I'll be there to say to Dill, I spoke to him already, and, it is what it is. Let's just try and let it go, because you're in a different place to him. You don't need to come down to his level. Not being disrespectful to him. He's just started his journey. So, you don't need to lower yourself to that he's clout chasing, as a lot of people would say.
Yeah.
You don't need to be there. You're an elite fighter. You're right there at the top with these boys, and he's on his journey. Just let it ride a little bit. man up, go and confront him as you wish, but just let it slide out, you know.
I did hear you saying in the other interview, you said, I will try and impress that upon him. He's his own man. You actually said he's a lunatic. I can only make suggestions.
And that is true. He is, you know, listen, you've seen it over the years. Yeah. You know, he wears his heart on his sleeve. If you say something to him, he will come and confront people and pull you up on what you're saying, and he'd want to, you know, get your answer. And when I say a lunatic, that's in a little bit of jest also, because he's a sensible man, because he manages himself and he's got himself with the advisor and the people that's backed him and myself, and he's got himself to this position, not because he's a psychopath, but, you know, because he's a clear thinking minded person also. So, you know, it's just one of those ones that I said it, and just because I know a lot of people know he is a feisty man. He's a man, like I said, who wears his heart on his sleeve, and he will confront a confrontation with confrontation. So,
as far as Dylan's next move goes and his career trajectory at the minute, a lot of people who are not really privy to the intricacies of the business seem to believe he'd made a mistake by not going with the initial offer of an April the 13th shot at 3/4 of the heavyweight championship of the world. You have an opinion?
No, yes. You know what? Everyone wants to fight for the world title. That is true. You know, you go your whole career, but at the same time, it is a business also. Just the same with Joshua and Wilder in their discussions. But it's a little bit different because Wilder's got 1 belt and Joshua's got 3 belts, but at the same time, it's the figures. You know, it's still the figures. One wants more, one's the A side, one wants a little bit more. Dillian, on the other hand, has earned his title shot. He is a pay-per-view standalone fighter himself. He's doing great numbers. He's making good figures, $1 million figures in his own right, by himself. So to offer 4 or 5 million and then go and offer 8 million makes no sense. Especially as he's not achieved nothing Dillian does. He doesn't bring the standing Dillian does to the table in terms of pay-per-view and history. Nothing. The value isn't there. So Dillian done the right thing because he knows his worth, and that figure was just not enough. And that's what I think about that.
There was talk recently that Dylan might follow Tyson Fury to ESPN and Top Rank with some kind of corporation, although that doesn't appear to have moved forward just yet.
Well, I can't answer that clearly because obviously I saw it in the media just like you. I think I've been away quite a lot. I came back Monday, and then before I was in LA and Vegas and so on. So I've been away quite a lot. But I believe ongoing negotiations are still going on, and there are quite a few other various people who are interested in maybe who he's talking to. So one way or the other, we're going to have some answers shortly. But ESPN Top Rank, you know, Tyson Fury went there and he got a phenomenal deal. I don't blame him. He come back. He's done a great job, Tyson Fury as well. Yeah. He beat Deontay Wilder as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure most people. And now he come back and got an 80 million, 85 million deal. So listen, he's on top of the world. He can go and bloody fight whoever he wants. Call Paddy the Pac-Man, the dustbin driver, to come in, get a few rounds of him. You know what I mean? That's probably one of his fights. Who knows? If Dillian takes that same route, good luck to him. And you know, these guys deserve the figures, you know, what they're getting, and they need to be paid what they're worth. That 5 million is nowhere near the worth. So, you know, if it is ESPN and they offer a huge sum and he goes that way, he deserves it.
Yeah, and if it's ESPN, you know, a multi-fight deal, presumably, whether it's to fight Tyson Fury at some point or not.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be, because obviously if you've got two top Brits, they would kind of mix it up somewhere in that would be one of the fights. I'd assume. I don't know the negotiations, but I'd assume it would be somewhere along those lines. You know, you'd have a couple of fights here. You know, you lot stablemates should fight each other bloody half a dozen times or 2-3 times. You know, you get the gist anyway. So
how about Wilder?
Wilder, I think they're negotiating with that. I heard Eddie Hearn saying they might sue the WBC, or they're speaking to them, trying to make it that the WBC makes Dillian the mandatory for the winner. But listen, we've seen how the WBC performs. They mandate stuff and they draw back the mandates.
Well, like Brazil.
Yeah, that's what I say. They draw back the mandates. So I don't know if you can actually believe them being people of their word. So, hey, we just have to wait and see.
But who, in your opinion, is the heavyweight champion of the world? If you had to call one name who you believe is the more legitimate champ than the other two?
Well, in terms
the
of...
other one. Fury's got that lineal claim, sorry.
Yeah, so listen, how I look at it is this. Joshua, I live in the UK, so I'm going to back all my UK fighters most of the time, like 99% of the time. Yeah. Joshua is the champ at the minute. He's got majority of the belts. He's an ambassador. He and my bro Dillian have done great for the UK, bringing it to a very great high place. Tyson Fury, on the other hand, has just come back, and he's doing an amazing job in himself, the lineal champ, and he's an exceptional boxer. from what he's come back from to go and fight Deontay Wilder so soon and beat him, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Listen, you got these three guys, dominant forces. But I mean, if you're looking at it in terms of the market and the PR, Joshua's the leading guy, man, as far as I'm concerned. You've got Deontay Wilder, he's phenomenal also. What is he, 41-0, is he? What's that now?
I believe so,
or 40, something crazy like that. He's done amazing as well.
Well, Wilder's got to be 40-0 and 1. Right?
Yeah, something crazy like that, but he's still 40.
Third column.
41-0. But what it is he's only beat what's in front of him. You know what I mean? People say about the opponents, he's still knocked them out. Sure. He's won. So we've got to give him his credit. But for me, I think styles makes fights. I've watched Fury fight Wilder, so I think Joshua could do good against Wilder, but then I think Joshua will have a harder time against Fury. Do you know? Because of the stylistically.
For sure.
So that's how I look at it. And my bro Dillian's in the mix with all of these guys because he's a nightmare for any of them because of his unorthodox style, his unorthodox long hands and stuff going to the body. And he's right at the top with all of these boys, you know?
We will watch and see how it plays out with interest as always.
Exactly.
Dean White, thanks very much for making yourself available to us at the Voice of Boxing.
Appreciate it.
Maybe see it away in order to fight, and let's hope there's no
Argy-bargy.
unscheduled flowers. Thank you, sir. Cheers.
Appreciate it.